Good morning. I'm Jeff Kranitz here on Detroit's East Side in the Morningside community. And today we're going to take a look inside this home. We're going to learn how the revitalization of this home ties directly into the revitalization of this entire community. All right, everybody, we're in the house, joined by none other than Vaughn Arrington, District 4 Deputy Manager, working for you, Detroiters. We're in his house, and as you can see, Vaughn's got a little bit of work to do.
A little.
And so, Vaughn, what's your plan, man? You gonna go over to Home Depot and just drop banks?
No, I'm not going to Home Depot. I'm going across the street to the tool library. I'm not going to pay nearly half of what I would pay at Home Depot or at Lowe's. I'm looking at a yearly cost of maybe 50, 60 bucks, and I can borrow any tool that I need to get the job done. So no, I'm not going there. I'm going across the street.
Oh, it's a tool library.
Yeah.
I've heard of, book libraries, but a tool library, that's kind of like new in Detroit, I think.
It's similar to a book library. It is new. It's the first of its kind in Michigan even. But it's the type of thing that you experience when you do go to Home Depot and you need to rent, let's say, a buffer for your floor, or you need to rent a drill or a saw. It's the same concept, except for that it's ran by the community. And this idea isn't anything new. I mean, there's several across the country, but just none here in Detroit. So this is the first one that we have, and we're grateful to be the first recipients of such a project. And it's going to help folks over in Morningside, District 4 entirely, really, because this area has a lot of homes. I can't tell you the number of unoccupied homes that we have, but they're beautiful homes. I mean, this one here is 6 rooms, and it's a lot of work to get it done, and it's going to cost a lot of cash to get it done, but it won't be so hard on folks like me who are buying homes when you've got something like that. I just recently fixed my garage. My garage had a bunch of dumping in it, which is another problem that we tend to have. But thankful to the district managers and DPW, we're handling that issue pretty good. But cleaning out that garage, running electric to that garage, putting a electric door on there, and pulling up, hitting the button, and parking my car in my house, I can't articulate for you how that feels when I have had this tremendous amount of work to get there. I mean, you got to go down in the basement, you got to hook up a new electric box, you got to make sure that the amperage is right, you got to make sure everything is grounded. So you're going to spend money on copper wiring, you're going to spend money on fuses, you're going to spend money on routing this stuff under the ground to get to the garage, and then you got to pay for the garage door to get put in and the motor to get put in. It's a lot of work. But when it's done and you pull up and you just park and you go in your house, the ease of that and the safety of your vehicle being protected from the elements and people, it's a good feeling, and I've gotten to enjoy that. So that's one piece of enjoyment, but there's lots of it. There's lots of times where I just appreciate what I've done so far. I mean, the house is nowhere near done, but I've cooked dinner here twice, and I've got a lot of friends, and they come over and they enjoy food with me, and to have 6, 7, 8 people over to dine with and just have a space for us to come together, that feels really good.
My name is Rebecca Silverman. I'm a glassblower, and this is Art to Trey.
I'm home, you're home in Detroit City. There's no place like home. Just tell me what you need. It's all right here in Detroit. Don't matter what it is, it's all right here. Oh.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? So good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for coming out, you guys.
What are you gonna make today?
Today we're gonna be making a plate with a color fade and some pineapple optic texture.
Cool.
Okay, so this is the glory hole. Swear, I'm not kidding. These are stainless steel blowpipes, like 1 1/4 inch. And that's where I do all the magic happens on the pipe.
How long have you been blowing glass?
I've been blowing glass, I would say, consistently for 6 years. But the first time I ever did it was in 2011.
What sparked your interest? What made you say, this is the path I'm gonna go down?
When I was in college, I was working at a glass shop, and we sold just retail, locally made glass. And I just became infatuated, and I had so many questions, like, how do you get the color? How, like, I couldn't believe that it was made by a human and not a machine. So this is my emerald green.
Ooh.
And then over here, I'm gonna roll in some bluish purple. So to create the color fade, I'm coating the tip with one color, the green, and then the outer rim will end up being purple, and they'll sort of like blend and blur and fade from one into the other.
So did you end up going to school or taking classes for this, or were you like taught along the way?
When I first got a job in a glass shop in Dearborn, I sort of lied and said I could do it. And then I showed up on time, worked really hard to prove that I could do it. And so while I was doing that, I started taking a class in Detroit at Michigan Hot Glass.
So what are these little crystals called?
So this is frit, and it's actually colored glass that's crushed up. And I worked at Epiphany where you were before, and it's awesome. But I never would have been able to get that job had I not had a job before that, because I didn't go to art school. I came out with no experience, and for a long time I was just happy that they were paying me at all to do it.
I know.
But eventually you get to that point where you need money and your skill is there. I don't ever really feel like I'm working because it's just fun.
Because it's just fun, yeah.
Like even when I'm making work for other artists, I'm getting paid to make glass to get better. The little picture? Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much if it's glass, I made it.
What is your favorite piece that you've done? Like which one means the most to you?
It's kind of heavy. You can hold him.
Oh my. Look at the detail with the webbed feet and oh my goodness.
I worked on that for 2 different days.
Okay.
I had, I think, like 4 people assisting me with assembling it.
To get it all together.
Yeah. Generally, when I blow glass, I'm working with 1 other person, maybe 2 if we're trying to like rush production really fast. I made that in a class, and you just have so many people there, like ready to help you, to jump in when you need them, like people from other groups. They see that you're near the end and they want to help.
Okay.
So it's like team building, it's skill building. I don't consider myself to be a sculptor. I really prefer functional work. So it was kind of outside my comfort zone. We're gonna get pretty close to maxing it out.
And what was that? What'd you just do there?
That was a bubble. So I just trapped some air in the pipe to start the bubble. So you can see that it expands. So now it's hollow.
Yeah.
I have enough color on here. So this is called a flash. It's just bringing the glass back up to a working temperature. I want to make sure that the size and the shape is how I want it before I end up gathering over it, so that once there's more mass on there, it blows out how I want it to.
Okay. So the beginning of how you start this is really important because it plays a role into how it finishes out.
Yeah, so if you're off center, if your bubble's too thick or too thin in certain places, like it's gonna stay that way. Glass has an incredible memory. So, if I have a really thin spot now, it's only gonna get worse.
And this bowl too, I assume?
Yeah.
Gosh, Becca.
That was a lot of work in that. You load up color, you lay it out, and then you gather clear over it. So you end up with like a big cylinder. And then you stretch it out really long all the way across the room. And you have what's called cane, and then you can cut it into whatever length you need. So the first one was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 layers, like overlay color over color over color.
Thick, yeah.
It's thick, yeah. So like the outer ring was the cane roll up, so I would slice the cane into maybe 6 or 8 inches, line them up on a table, heat them up, kind of squish them together, and then roll them up onto the outside of another layering of colors.
Yeah.
So it would have been like a green core, small, with the amber layered over it, with the aqua layered over that, followed by the rolling up of this layer, the cane from yesterday, and then black layered over all of that. I should show you
You should.
those pieces. So here, I don't have any more of the yellow cane. It's all been sliced. But you can imagine it was longer when I did the roll
yeah.
up. So that's like the yellow that you were seeing in that bowl,
Okay.
the small ones. And then this is the large Marini.
Oh yeah, I recognize that pattern.
And I can go in for my second gather.
You mentioned earlier that your garage is 5 years in the making.
Yeah, as soon as I got my hands on a torch in the summer of 2011, I told myself and anyone who would listen that I was going to get a torch one day. And then 7 years goes by and you don't have a torch, but once we moved into this house, I started saving money. More than half of the money that I spent on that setup went into 2 windows, a door, a vent, fan. I had to, divert power.
Yeah.
I had to get power in the garage, electrician. So this is my little flame shop.
Nice.
Yeah.
I smell the wood.
Yeah, it's new. It's the bench.
Yeah.
It's definitely the bench. Yeah, this is it. Pride and joy right here. So there we got the texture. So Jared's gonna help me now while I create a neckline, a space between the glass and the pipe. He's gonna inflate the whole thing for me so I can have 2 things going at once below. I think the ultimate dream for most glass artists is to have their own shop, work for themselves rather than working for other artists. That wasn't possible for me. Opening up a hot shop requires huge amount of financing, a much larger space. You need gas lines running. If I personally was gonna do it, I would wanna do it right. I would wanna do it big. I'd have to either buy or rent a building. I'd have to outfit this building with all the gas and the electric that's needed. And then we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment to get up and running. And then, maybe like a $2,000 gas bill every month on top of that. So the overhead's ridiculous. So this is the Punty. We're gonna make a transfer in a second here. So I wanna make sure that I'm right on center. Ready? There we go.
So why did you need to transfer poles?
To expose the opening.
Okay.
So now there's a hole on the top, so I can get my tools in there. Yeah. I always do. Off. On. I think we should do it. Yep. Okay, we're gonna spin it out now. Open. Get right on there. So there she is. The moment of truth. Yep. Woo! Hold on. All right. There you go.
And in which place?
Oh, these are the 2 plates that I made for you guys.
This is not even the color that I would have thought it would have come to, just because the
The
It's
glass
so
beads were
dark.
so tiny
Yeah.
that it was hard to see, but it's so vibrant.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful.
Thanks.
Here, this is a pretty
Yeah, so
installation.
this is a lamp.
What?
I think it's 9 different shades of blue, and I just kept making them in different colors until I had enough that were the right size.
Yeah.
You know, there's always extras every project. So let's say I want to make a gift, a wedding gift. But you know, one friend wanted a set of cups, like rocks glasses. So for me, success would be making all 6 cups that are a good set in one sitting. That would be awesome. If I made 10 cups and I had the perfect set of 6 to give for the gift and it was one sitting, I would feel very successful. That's really my end goal, other than having my own hot shop eventually, maybe, who knows, is just to get better. Like, I sort of see it, it's like a game, you know, like, how sweet can I make this cup? You know, can I make 6 that are exactly the same? How many do I have to make to get a set of 6 that are great set?
There's nothing worse than wasting time. Well, maybe waiting in lines. But now I can pay my water bill from my phone, tablet, or laptop. All it takes is a quick click and bam, I can check, manage, and pay my water bill from anywhere. That means more time with the family at Rouge Park, more time for myself on the Riverwalk, or just at home on Outer Drive. I can pay my water bill anywhere. It's that easy. So skip the line and pay your bill online. Visit www.detroitmi.gov/paymywaterbill to register today.
Hey, Kendra.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, how are you today?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good. Can I help you with that?
Thank you so much.
Hey, I'll grab it for you.
Thank you. Come on in. Ah, here's my receipt.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to get another job to afford all these groceries.
I can see why. Hey, you know you can reuse these, correct? And some stores will give you a credit towards your grocery bill if you bring your own bags.
Really?
And once you're done reusing the bags, you can recycle them. Recycling also saves resources and money by cutting down on landfill costs, which we all pay for on our property tax bill. You can put a recycling bin next to your trash and recycle all sorts of things, like cereal boxes, plastic containers, cans, and paper as well.
Want some water?
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, another idea, instead of letting the water run until it gets cool, fill up a water bottle or a pitcher and put it in the refrigerator, and you'll save money on your water bill, which you can put towards your groceries as well.
Yes. What else?
You can save even more money on water by taking shorter showers and turning the water off when you brush your teeth. Save money on your electric bill by turning lights off when you leave the room. And when you're not using them, unplug anything that uses power, even when it's off, like your phone charger or your computer. Unplugging those devices from standby power can also save you up to $100 per year.
Woo! More money for those groceries.
High five. Save water, save energy, save money.
All right, Joshua, thanks for allowing us in today, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure. So I'm looking around, and there's definitely something going on inside this this little warehouse.
Yep.
Tell me about where we're at and what's going to take place here.
So you're at the East Warren Tool Library. So in April, late April, we're going to be opening up Detroit's first tool library. What a tool library is basically like a book library, but for tools. So it gives the community residents in neighborhoods an option to get tools at a low cost. So you can check in and out tools through our membership program. There'll be a yearly membership fee based on your income, and then throughout that year, you can check in and out tools, as you wish. Obviously there'll be, kind of like a maximum days that you can have a tool, but if you bring it back and nobody else needs it, then you can check it right back out. However, we also want to make sure that the tool library is sustainable. So the membership fees are going to help, with tool replacement, tool maintenance, and warehouse upkeep, things like that.
Oh, cool. Well, Detroit's a big city. I imagine you're going to get a lot of people interested in this, which means you need a lot of tools.
Yeah.
So how do you guys come about, getting all the equipment and the tools that you're going to need?
Yeah, so far as you can see, we have been getting quite a bit of tools from the community, anywhere from Rochester Hills to the west side of Detroit to Grosse Pointe. Folks have been, digging deep into their basements and garages and, tools that they haven't used for a long time but are still functional. They've been reaching out to us, and we've been either picking them up or they've been dropping them off. And so far we've gotten, well over 200 pieces of tools, anywhere from a push mower to, your crescent wrench.
So I know a lot of this stuff is still being, in the planning phase, and it will be rolled out when the time is right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people might know a little something, and I know YouTube can help sometimes, but there's nothing better than like classroom instruction or workshops. And so tell me a little bit about what you guys are planning for that.
So the first phase obviously is all about tool lending. That's going to be our bread and butter, is tool lending. But we also want to give folks the opportunity to take a home repair class, a workshop, maybe some workforce development opportunities down the line. So those workshops can also be like, masonry, carpentry, electrical work, home repair classes, how do you fix your sink, how to put up drywall, things like that. So as we, go through the season and as we build capacity and get more resources, those things will come online as well throughout the year for our members and the community around. Because this area of Morningside, there's a lot of homes that would like to get some love, and so we'll be able to help those homeowners or renters be able to get those skills and experiences to do that.
Hello everyone, I'm Alfonso Smith, and I'm the owner of the King's Treasure Chest men's vintage fashion and designer clothing in the wonderful city of Detroit, Michigan. I was a student at Eastern Michigan University, and poor like a lot of students, and didn't have a lot of money, but enjoyed dressing and fashion, and wandered up on a thrift store. And of course, it was my kind of place, because I was able to find shirts and slacks and ties that were one of a kind. And so as I began to put those combinations together, people were complimenting me, saying, man, where did you get that? And then when I find special pieces, it's like I hit the jackpot. Wow, I can envision somebody rocking this. I want to talk about my suit collection, vintage suit collection. This is a 1970s wool two-piece suit in plaid. A lot of the designers are going with the plaid look for this season. And the good thing about it is that it's hard to find in any vintage store two-piece suits where they're both the jacket and trousers. I specialize in vintage suits. I probably have one of the largest selections of men's vintage suits in Michigan. My definition of vintage clothing would be clothes from the 1940s, 30s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And you think of the word vintage, you think of wine. It's something that's old and refined. And so for me, a vintage piece is an older piece of refined clothing that stands out, that's classic, and they're simply amazing. When we're talking about men's vintage and designer shoes, I have an amazing collection because I'm going to show you an example. This was a 1950s custom shoe, probably that was never worn. The only problem with this shoe, if you consider it to be a problem, is it's kind of narrow. So, but it was an actual handmade custom leather shoe. You can't find shoes like this. They probably, and if you do find them, they would be hundreds of dollars. So this was a hand cap toe leather cognac, a vintage piece from the 1950s. Another vintage piece would be the 1970s with the buckle. Of course, Gucci makes shoes with the big buckle on the side, and this is a 1970s piece that you could wear with jeans, as well as 100% leather, as well as with a suit. This is really nice. I have another shoe which is Pony, and this is a 2000 kind of piece, and it's a designer steeplegate, and I really like the texture of this shoe because, again, you can rock it with both jeans and a suit, and it's especially wonderful in the winter months. Pony, 100%. I've always followed the latest fashions in magazines for men, and so what I would do is look for those similar pieces because designers typically copy vintage clothing and put a very large price tag on it. So what I would do is I would find actual replica pieces that perhaps maybe the fabric was a little different and it looked almost authentic. Again, I'm Alfonso Smith. I am the proud owner of the King's Treasure Chest, located right in the city of Detroit at 2328 East 7 Mile Road. I can be contacted at 313-208-2537. Please come to the King's Treasure Chest and allow me to wake up the king in you.
If you like this episode and want to see more, follow us at City of Detroit. Check out more stories from the neighborhoods at Stories from DET and tap into featured events in the city on Instagram and YouTube at Burst Detroit.
So stay tuned, everybody, because you heard it from the man himself. There's a lot more to come, and this is all about bringing Detroit back to its fullest. And considering where it's at now, that's a bold statement. So stay tuned, because we're going to watch and get all this stuff done. So I want to thank everybody for watching Detroit 360. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, much love.